Hello, everybody. Welcome to the in focus topic of today. And today we will be talking about urbanization, an important program that has been launched to help the rural areas with urban amenities and help them to transform which the rural areas which are in the process of transformation to help them have the amenities that are required for urbanization. So the program is called as Shyama Prasad Muhkerjee Rurban Mission, and it was in news today, that is February 21st, 2022, because the Rural Development Ministry had approved 296 clusters under this mission. So we know that in GS paper 1 we have the GS paper for UPSC mains examination 1. We have a topic called as urbanization, and so urbanization and its related issues and developments, both with regard to India and also what is happening in the world, is important. Now this mission is important because sustainable cities is an important goal under the sustainable development goals, which have to be achieved by 2030, and also for India to achieve the goal of a $5 trillion economy. And Niti Aayog has also identified development of urban areas and also the areas which are turning into urban, that is in the process of turning into urban areas, as one of the important components also for new India development. So $5 trillion economy and other issues of sustainability along with new India goals. So urbanization is a focus of government because most of the revenue, most of the employment, most of the infrastructure demand is from the urban areas, and you can see them as growth poles to the economy. Now if you look at the census, this idea should be kept in mind for every answer with regard to urbanization, because this gives the examiner an idea that you are following the topic well. So in 1901, the urbanization in India according to the census 1901 was 11%. It became 28.53% in 2001 census, and now 2011 census approximately 34% of the population lives in you have 34% of urban areas in India, that is 34% of the population lives in urban areas. Now according to the United Nations sources, it says that by 2030 India's urban population will be 40%, and by 2040 it will almost reach 50%. So urbanization is on the rise in India. If you look at the 10 most populated cities in India according to 2011, we can see Greater Mumbai occupies the first position, followed by Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Pune, Surat and Jaipur. If you look at the most urbanized countries in the world, you have like Singapore, Hong Kong, Macau, Qatar, Kuwait, Malta in the Mediterranean region, Belgium, Guadeloupe, Virgin Islands, Uruguay in South America. So even having an idea of these countries is also very helpful to write a good answer on urbanization, just not focusing on India. So moving forward, if we just look at what actually is the definition of an urban area in the country, it varies from country to country, and the Census of India 2011 has defined an urban area as follows. It says all the places with municipality, corporation, cantonment board or notified town area committees, etc. Second, all the other places which satisfy the following criteria, like the minimum population of 5,000, at least 75% of the male working population is engaged in non-agriculture pursuits, and the density of the population is at least 400 persons per square kilometer. Now the first category of urban units is known as statutory towns, that is under the serial number 1. And these towns are notified by law by the concerned state and UT governments, and they have local bodies like municipal corporations, municipalities, municipal committees, etc., irrespective of demographic characteristics. Now the second category of towns which is in the item number 2 above, is known as census towns, and they are identified on the basis of census 2001. The next you have also is like you have class 1 towns and class 2 towns based on the size of the population which is include there existing in the region. You also have terms such as urban agglomeration, outgrowths. So it's better for you to have an idea of these so that it will help you in the prelims and also to write a good answer. So if you see, class 1 towns are those which are having at least 1 lakh person of population. Then you have million plus cities also in India. It's a good exercise if you just identify the million plus cities, because it will be a very good thing to present it in the answer. So you have million plus cities with plus million population. You have mega cities which have an population of more than 10 million persons, known as mega cities. So Greater Mumbai, Kolkata, Delhi, etc. are examples of mega cities. So you can identify them also on the map. Moving forward now, going into detail of this program. So today is the 6th anniversary of the launch of the Shyama Prasad Muhkerjee Rurban mission. Now this program was launched in 2016 to develop 300 clusters in the country to provide them economic, social and physical infrastructure. So when the GS paper says urbanization, it's understood that even you have to have an idea of the steps or such policy initiatives such as the Rurban vision to develop the urban areas. So now the Rural Development Ministry has approved 296 clusters under the mission. Now, Rurban clusters are identified across the country's rural areas that are showing increasing signs of urbanization. For example, there is increase in population density, there is high levels of non-farm employment, presence of growing economic activities and other socio-economic parameters. So let me give you a small example of how this happens. For example, let us take if there is a highway coming up on a region, or there is a port that is being developed and there are nearby urban rural areas. So obviously when there is development of certain infrastructure project, or there is a port development, or for example nodes in and the industrial corridor, etc., automatically there will be land needed for development of infrastructure like roads, or there will be needed for warehousing, there will be need for housing, etc. So the agriculture land obviously which is there will be in demand, and so people might sell their land for these infrastructure process. Then they might use the money to get into other economic activities. Then you can see agriculture will decrease. There will be increase in population because there will be migration from nearby areas to cater to the employment needs of development of this region, and there will be other development in service sector, etc. So slowly, it's not overnight that a rural area changes into an urban area. It is a process. So there is certain project that has come up to cater to all those needs. There is land, there is employment, there is services, etc. And over a period of time, a rural area suddenly changes into a urban area. Now for a rural area to sustainably develop into an urban area, it needs certain infrastructure, it needs certain amenities, etc. to cater to the population. If there is no amenities or infrastructure, what happens is that there will be migration from that area, there will be no development, etc. So people will start moving out of the area if that area is left idle without any development in the region. So I hope I'm clear with this point. So this is how, if you can see, even in the beginning, when after the British left, we had only few places that were urban, mostly the port areas which the British used for the export and import of goods. But later on, many other areas started to become urban. That's because of the various development activities which the government took in the form of public sector enterprises, development of roads, airports, educational centers, industries, etc. This is how the rural areas turn into urban areas. So let's see, what does this mission do now? Now the mission aims to transform these urban clusters by stimulating economic development, It also enhances the basic services and creates a well planned urban cluster. This would lead to holistic development of the region and then encourage integrated and inclusive rural development. So, under the mission, already 300 urban clusters are envisaged to be developed in a time bound manner. So, we can see that we'll have more 300 plus over a period of time urban areas added to urbanization. So, what is the infrastructure then that is being planned in this region? Infrastructure that is planned in this region is in the form of 24 by 7 water supply to all, solid and liquid waste management at the cluster level and household level, provision of inter and intra village road within the cluster, adequate street lights and public transport facilities, economic activities in the cluster, which include thematic areas in the sectors of agri services, processing, tourism, skill development to promote small and medium scale enterprises. Now, the mission focuses on a cluster based integrated development through spatial planning, that is, identifying the rural areas which are in the process of transforming into urban areas because there is change in economic activities, because there is change in population, etc. So these areas or clusters are identified and they are developed on the lines of urban areas. So the Rurban mission clusters focus on selecting the intervention from the following components depending on locally felt needs and identified during a survey. For example, the needs such as sanitation are tried to identify. If there is need of sanitation, sanitation is provided, and that is what the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan did. Then piped water supply, Jal Jeevan Mission, solid and liquid waste management, again smart cities and also Swachh Bharat, village street light and electrification, access to village streets with drains, inter-village roads and connectivity, public transport, skill development and training linked to allied economic activities that are coming up with the region, agri-services, processes and allied activities, health, education, digital literacy, citizen service centers, LPG gas connection, environment, employment generation, SHG formation, tourism promotion, sports infrastructure, etc. are all taken into consideration and they are identified based on the locally felt needs, and then those areas are developed in these urban clusters. So the Minister of Rural Development gave an answer in the Lok Sabha regarding the evaluation and how the program is actually performing. It has been launched in 2016, so it is now almost 5 years, and now this year is the 6th anniversary. So evaluating a program, how it has performed, that is how the infrastructure, how the areas have been identified, how many clusters have been planned to be developed, what are the finances that have gone into them, has there been allocation, what are the changes that have been witnessed in these, etc. So if you see, there's been an increase in expenditure, like almost 15,000 crore constituting 54% of the outlay has already been incurred. Now, of the 76,000 projected works on the mission, 40,000, that is 55%, have already been completed or nearing the completion stage. Now, to propagate planned development, the plan notification has been done for 248 clusters. Regarding the objectives of having sustainable planned development of urban habitat, a spatial platform has also been developed in collaboration with the Bhaskaracharya National Institute of Space Applications and the Ministry of Panchayat Raj. So, this platform will track the development of these urban clusters, and therefore the mission is achieving all its goals in an inherent manner. Now, Niti Aayog has given a very big statement of the evaluation of the program. It says that the urban mission is playing a very important role in reducing urban migration by ensuring that basic infrastructure, utilities are provided and industrialization is promoted. So, it is very relevant for ensuring transformational developments as against transitional developments in India's rural development sector. So, as we've seen that the urban mission is playing a very important role, especially to track those areas that are impacted by development or infrastructure development and they are in the process of becoming urban. they are in the process. So there is a need for sustainable infrastructure. There is a need for certain skill developments for the local population to provide them jobs in that place itself, rather than they migrating to other areas and then becoming a burden on the already population filled other existing urban areas. So this will lead to development of those urban clusters, and also identifying whatever needs that are needed in those rural areas so that they can be sustainably developed as urban areas in the future. So urban mission will play a very important role in achieving sustainable cities of the sustainable development goals. So this is the In Focus for today. See you tomorrow with a new topic in Focus. Until then, bye bye.